Hey guys, it's Adelaide Akins, and I'm here with my interview with Freedom Cafe with Becca, and
I'm the Community Engagement Manager for Freedom. So I work with volunteers and donors and anybody who wants to learn about Freedom a la carte in the community.
So I have a few questions for her. My first question is, what is Freedom Cafe and how did the company start?
Yeah, so Freedom a la carte actually started all the way back in 2011, and we were actually originally a food cart. And Freedom a la carte is a nonprofit. We're also a social enterprise, and we were born out of the need for women needing supportive services, women that were previously trafficked. So we have three different pillars. One is our restoration piece. And we work directly with women within a court program called Catch Court. And Catch stands for Changing Actions to Change Habits. And basically, a woman, when she gets solicitation charges, she might be asked to serve jail time. If she is able to be identified as a trafficking victim, she can plea into this court program that it blends punitive sentences with different supportive services that she might need so that she can get back into the community. So Freedom comes alongside this court program as the person's there for 2 years, and we offer them help with getting their GED, getting their driver's license, kind of anything they might need to step into a life of self-sufficiency. We also have our second pillar, which is growth. So it's women within our workforce development program, and that's where the Catering and Cafe was born from. And yes, the food cart started in 2011, and we help women in gaining different skills that they might need in order to get back into the workforce. That can include soft skills such as working with individuals within the kitchen, getting teamwork. Sometimes people who have been in these situations have not been working in a team environment or with individuals that they can trust for a very long time. And so that's kind of where we start off at with the soft skills, but also more technical skills within our kitchen that they can use for different jobs in the community. So that'd be culinary skills, customer service skills. Our cafe opened April of this year, and that's what has helped us to enable an individual to gain those customer service skills of being a barista, of learning the POS system, learning how to take an order and things like that. So that's our second part. Our third pillar of our nonprofit is that of stability. And we actually have a support group with survivors around Columbus. In 2020, we had 145 women within this court program, or within this support group, support group. And we offer them social gatherings once a month, as well as peer-to-peer support, so they can meet weekly. It's kind of like what an AA meeting would be, but it's for someone who is a survivor of trafficking, and they can kind of talk through anything that they would need to at that time. So that's Freedom. We're kind of complex, but all of our different pillars align with our mission, which is to empower survivors of sex trafficking and exploitation to lead new lives of freedom.
That's great. Okay, my next question is, what are some warning signs that the average person should know about human trafficking?
Yeah, so warning signs, I think one thing to note is anyone could be at risk of trafficking. It usually does come up in different ways that you see it, but someone that is in any socioeconomic stance could be trafficked. It doesn't really matter on that end. Some vulnerable populations that we talk about normally is individuals in the foster care system, or individuals that have run away from home and are on the streets, and that might be what they're doing to make money, and unfortunately they're exploited within that way. A lot of times people think that trafficking is just kind of what a Taken situation is, if that makes sense. Have you ever seen the movie Taken?
I have not.
So basically it's Liam Neeson I believe. And his daughter is taken by just these random individuals that are kidnapping her.
Okay.
And she is sold into slavery and all this. And it's him trying to find her. So they didn't know the individual. They kind of pull up in a white van and took her.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of people think when they think of human trafficking
Right.
today. But in reality, within Columbus, within Ohio, and within the U.S., it doesn't necessarily look that way. A lot of times it's tied directly to substance abuse or drug abuse. And
I did not know that.
yeah, it definitely, from the court program that we've worked with, 100% of the individuals that we've worked with have dealt with substance abuse or alcoholism or something along those lines, and that's the vulnerable point that they have. And sometimes the trafficker or the person that is trafficking someone else is just like their drug dealer or something like that. So it looks a lot different in different areas of, obviously it could look different within the U.S. still, but that's kind of what it looks like within Columbus.
Okay.
So anyone who has an addiction issue or is vulnerable to that might possibly be more susceptible to being trafficked. So that's two of like the main ones that I would talk about.
Okay. So my last and final question is, how can local citizens help survivors feel more safe and loved, and in what ways can they get involved?
Yeah, I think the first part of that question would just be making sure you're reaching out to others. You don't know if someone is at risk of trafficking or kind of what their situation is, but also getting involved in the community with initiatives like Freedom. So Freedom is one of them, and we work with survivors every day, and just making sure that you are taking different volunteer opportunities if that's kind of something that's on your heart, but at the same time, you can get involved at any level. It could be as simple as looking at what you're buying and seeing if it's fair trade or not. If it's that's more on like the human trafficking, like labor trafficking versus sex trafficking, but it all kind of ties together.
And what does something being fair trade mean?
Yeah, so that would mean that it's made in an ethical manner. Sometimes when we're buying different products, the individual that was working for them was not making a fair wage, or it was not done ethically. And so at Freedom, we try to make sure that we're making sure that we know like where things are coming from and things like that. It's really difficult to do within like the food industry and that kind of stuff, but just be more aware of it. Another one is, just treating people as people. I think a lot of times if an individual has been trafficked and they might have a different past than you, it's easy to have your presumptions on what they've done, how they've gotten in that situation, where they've come from, how they'll act in different situations. And from working at Freedom myself, like individuals are all the same. We all have something that we have dealt with within our past. And even if someone's past looks different than you, it's not worse, it's not better. It's just kind of what experience like life has given them and how they've reacted to them. And yeah, I think a big thing of it is just like seeing people as people that you can care for, you can love. Our mission is to just empower survivors to live new lives of freedom and self-sufficiency. And so when you're having conversations with other individuals, are you empowering them or are you pulling them down with your presumptions, with how you're talking about an individual? We try to we know that freedom is like a whole team together, and we could not do what we do without each other, no matter if you're working in the cafe, catering, management, social or supportive services. We couldn't do what we do without each individual, and that's been a big part of it, is just making sure that you're treating others as you would want to be treated, because we're all equal in that respect.
Okay, well, thank you, Becca, for speaking with me on this episode, and I will see you guys in the next episode.